Hey, welcome back everybody. This is Excel video 490. I'm Nate Moore. I'm working on a project that I think will be very interesting to you, especially to folks that are interested in referral patterns or their specialty practices or market share or those kind of things. Right before Christmas, CMS released a whole bunch of data around physician relationships. What they did is they looked at a given patient, a beneficiary, and then they found claims for that beneficiary. So they'd look at the first provider in a series and then a future provider, a second provider, within 30 days or 60 days or 90 days or 180 days. And they dumped that data so that you can look and say, where are patients going before they come to my practice, or where are they going after they see one of my physicians based on NPI number? And with a little bit of creativity and thought process, there are all kinds of things you can do with this CMS data. I'll have much more to say about it, but for now, this is a sample pivot table, surprise, right, of some sample providers looking at what has been referred to them and what hasn't been referred to them by who referred it. And there's all kinds of information you can get, and I'll have more to say about it in future Excel videos. That said, let's play it with Power View again. We've talked about sorting and filtering in the Excel data model that brings you data. Now what I want to do is talk about how to visualize that data. There's several different ways to do it. And let's start with the most basic way, and that's a table in Power View. To create a table, what you can do is look at your list of Power View fields and go up and down and say, well, I want to understand, let's say I want to understand by referring group where my charges are coming from. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag referring group. I can either put it here into fields, or I can just drag it over here and throw it into the canvas and say, all right, here's my referring groups. And then I can get information around those referring groups. Let's take the fee, and I can drag that here and see the table light up, and I can add it there, or I can put it here. I typically do it like this. It's a little more visual for me. If you're used to pivot tables, you want to drag it here, that works too. But now I can see, here's my referring groups, and here's my fee, and I build a table. Easy to build a table. It's essentially just drag them in there, and there you go. So that's what I wanted to start with, is how to create a table. Now that I have a table, the most important thing to do is to delete it, right? Oops, I didn't want to do that or whatever. I'm going to click inside that table, and from the keyboard, I'm just going to hit delete, and my table's gone. Let's put it back. The undo key, by the way, is not lit up here. Can't undo, but Control-Z still works. So I could drag it again, but that's if you type like I do, or you occasionally need that undo key. Control-Z is your shortcut. Even though it isn't lit up here, Control-Z still works when you're playing Power View. This undo redo button, these things work too as you're creating tables. So we know how to create a table. We know how to delete a table. This looks a bit small to me. So you see these four corners here? I can drag and make the table bigger. Now, just because I made the table bigger doesn't mean my data is bigger. So what I might do is I might come over here and say I can change what font I want, whoops, or I can change the font size. Let's change the font size. So let's go back. We can, and then again, I can resize a little more if I need to. So another thing that's helpful to do with the table is to resize, and all I'm doing is clicking inside the table, waiting for these four corners to show up, and then I can drag around. Now I can resize the table. The other thing I can do is when I'm in resize, I can just drag to move. That's different than pivot tables. I mean, then I'd have to insert columns, do all kinds of things. I can just drag to move tables where I want. So it's easy to resize and to move tables where I want to go. If I wanted to add a column here, a couple ways to do it. I could take procedure. That's going to be a mess. Let's do referring physician. That won't be quite as messy. I could drag referring physician here and put it into my table. That's kind of a mess. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag it here and control it a bit better. And then what I'm going to do is do our little move trick again. And then let's make this a bit bigger. So now I can see my referring. Come here. There we go. My referring group, my referring physician, and the fee. So I can add fields. And then if referring physician's in the way, I can delete it. And I can check provider and put provider in there. Now I've got, here's the referring group, here's the charges that are there, and here's the provider, and I want it in a different order. It's easy to, like a pivot table, just kind of drag the fields where you want to go. If you get sick of provider, you can drag it out like this, or you can simply uncheck it. That works. It's easy ways to just kind of navigate around with the table. We've talked about creating and deleting tables. That's easy. Resizing and moving them around. That's easy too. and it's easy to add and remove columns. And again, if I wanted to change, let's put procedure class down here. It's easy if I wanted to move the column order around. I'm just going to drag in the fields area. I'm not dragging, that's not working for me. But I can drag here and control the field order. Again, if I don't want it, I can always get rid of it. Just some basic, easy ways to get started playing with the table. The thing that interests me next is the ability to change the way this data is aggregated or the way it's displayed down here, and we'll do that in the next Excel video. Thanks for watching.